Howdy guys, got a video here for you today on an Arms XTI 50. More specifically, we're going to be taking a look at the stabilizer unit, this piece here. So this is out of a good friend of mine's rifle, and what he's asked me to do is make a tool so that he can unscrew this end cap here, and so he can service the internals of the stabilizer unit. What we're going to be doing in this video is making the tool, and I'll also be giving you a good look at the stabilizer, and I'll be showing you how it works. With that said, we'll head on over to the lathe and we'll start work on the tool itself. Right then, so the tool itself is going to be really nice and simple. All we need to do is make a 4-pin tool with the pins a close fit in these holes here. To make the body of the tool, we're starting off over at the lathe. All we need to do in this setup is face the end, turn the OD down to 14mm, then drill a hole through the end 5mm in diameter and about 15mm deep. Once we've got all that done, we can part the piece off, flip it round, finish the other side, then move it over to the mill. So let's get that done. Right then, so we're over at the mill. We've got the part held in a collet block, which is in turn held in our mill vise. I'm all centered up on the center of the part, and the next thing we're going to be doing is drilling the 4 holes for our dowel pins. The pins themselves are 1.5mm in diameter. There are 4 of them, and the PCD which we need to drill the holes on is 8.5mm. Since there's 4 holes, that's nice and easy. All we need to do is move 4.25mm in either direction in both X and Y. What I'm going to be doing is center drilling all the holes first, then coming through with a 1.3mm drill bit, then opening the holes out to 1.5mm with a 1.5mm drill. Doing it this way should ensure the pins are a nice tight fit in the holes and they shouldn't need to be glued in. The last thing I'm going to be doing is just milling a hex on the end of the piece so that we can use a spanner in order to loosen the lock nut when the tool is built up. What I've gone ahead and done is got the piece set up in our collet block, and the collet block is 6-sided, so we should be able to just rotate it nice and easily, mill a section off of each face, and then when it's all done, we'll have a hex on the end here. Right then, so I've gone ahead and finished off the tool by just banging in the 4 pins. Again, these 4 pins here are 1.5mm in diameter and they stick out from the body about 2.5mm. The only other thing I'll say is that I haven't taken this apart just yet, but I have made myself familiar with the construction by consulting the Air Arms manual. If you're interested in taking a look at that for yourself, you can find the exploded diagram for the XTI-50 on the Air Arms website, but I'll put a link in the description below if you're interested. With that said, we can take our tool, line the pins up with the holes, then use a 12mm spanner just to crack the nut loose. From the factory this was done up fairly tightly, but there was no Loctite installed. So we'll take a quick look at the nut itself. On this particular rifle it has a flat machined onto the end, and that was aligned with the front. With that said, the next thing we're going to be doing is removing the pellet probe, and I'm pretty sure I can just pull this out. There it is there. So that's our pellet probe. There is a small O-ring around the base there, and it does have a hole running through the center. The last thing we can do is remove the piston from inside the stabilizer housing. To do that, we're just going to be using a 2mm Allen key to push it forward. At this stage I've pushed it as far forward as it can go, but there is no easy way to remove it from the end there, so what I'm going to be doing is using a 4.8mm drill bit, putting that in the end there, lozenging the drill bit very slightly, then pulling the piston out. As you can see there, it comes out nice and easily. You could probably also remove it by simply giving the housing a tap on a nice wooden table or something similar. But there is our piston. Again, it has a O-ring around this end which seals in the stabilizer body, and if we take our pellet probe, when it's in the rifle, it should go together something like that. So when the rifle is ready to take a shot, we have a pellet loaded into the barrel. The assembly will look something like that. As we take a shot, air will be able to travel through this hole here and push the stabilizer back, just like that. And it should stop any felt recoil when you have the rifle in the shoulder. According to the Air Arms manual, the adjuster, or the stabilizer I should say, is adjusted by this grub screw here. Apparently adjusting this grub screw in slows the rate at which this piston travels backwards, and adjusting it out increases the speed at which this stabilizer system works backwards. Now, I haven't got the full rifle here, so I can't test it fully, but I'm guessing what you have to do is very similar to what you do on the Enschütz 9015. On the Enschütz, you simply need to adjust the stabilizer so that it comes as far back as possible without coming into contact with the small back cap. But again, it could be different on the XTI-50. But the screw on the side here is accessible when the rifle is built up, so it would be nice and easy to have a small experiment with that, and just find the point at which the rifle feels the most dead. With that said, in the manual they do give a recommended distance between the face here and the top of the screw, so if you wanted to set that back to the factory setting, you could find that in the manual. Having said that, the measurement on this particular rifle seems to be about 3.28mm. With that all said and done, that's pretty much the stabilizer system fully disassembled. If we take a light, don't know if you can see in the end there, but it is just a plain drilling. But with that said, what I'm going to do now is just give this a quick clean out with a few cotton buds and a little bit of oil just to remove all the old debris. Then we'll put it back together again. Right then, so before we start on the rebuild process for the stabilizer, there are a couple of things that I want to mention. So firstly, I've talked with the owner of this particular rifle and he has let me know a few things. Firstly, he doesn't think that the stabilizer system ever worked ever since he bought the rifle. Secondly, He hasn't modified the rifle in any way, so this is how it came when he bought it. I just assumed that he had polished this up, but no, this is how it came when he bought the rifle. The third thing that I want to mention, and the most interesting part, is that when I was cleaning up all of the components, I found a tremendous amount of a brown substance within the back of the stabilizer housing. So this is a sponge with a stick on it, and as you can see there, the sponge is caked in sort of a brown debris. Also on these Q-tips here. What I had to do to remove it was get in there with a bit of WD-40 and some Q-tips and just try and wipe the worst of it out. And then I came through with just a sponge on a stick and removed the rest of the brown debris from inside this hole here. As you saw on the disassembly process, there was also a fair amount on the back of the piston here. But the reason that I'm mentioning this is because in the bottom of this hole here, there is a small drilling which connects with this hole in the side, or this hole I should say, so this hole in the side. So a small drilling within this section here, which connects this bore to this hole here, and this is how the air escapes. So it escapes through the hole, then through the screw threads. Our adjuster, this piece here, controls the flow of the air, and the further that you wind this out, the more air is able to escape. This brown debris was totally blocking this hole off and was stopping any light or air escaping from the hole itself. So I don't know if the camera will pick it up. If we shine a light through that hole there, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. We may be able to see it better from this side. Hopefully the camera will focus, but you should be able to see a small amount of light travelling up through the hole in the base there. That was not appearing when I first took the stabilizer unit apart. I've gone ahead and cleaned everything out nicely, so there's no more debris in the back section here, and we should be able to assemble things, and hopefully this time the stabilizer will work. So to begin with, what I've gone ahead and done is just add a very small amount of silicone grease to the inside of this bore here, just by using a cotton bud. The next thing we'll do is add a small amount of silicone grease to this outside O-ring. Then we can add a little to this O-ring here as well. With those lightly greased, we can assemble these two components nice and simply by simply pushing them together. And then we can get those pieces installed into the housing. Again, nice and carefully pushing them into place. With that done, we'll get our locking nut installed, aligning the cutout with the front, as that was the orientation it was installed in. Then we can just screw that into the end, then do that up with a spanner. The last thing we can do is install our adjustment grub screw, this one here. And we're going to be getting that done into the factory setting using a 2.5mm Allen key. So in the instructions it mentions that the factory measurement for this grub screw here is around 2.5 to 3 millimeters, and that measurement is from the top of the grub screw to the top of the body, this piece here. We're going to be getting it into about 2.75 or around halfway between the two measurements. So 2.79, that'll do for now. Right then, so that's the stabilizer system fully rebuilt. The last thing I'm going to do is just make sure that the piston travels backwards and forwards nice and freely, so that feels quite nice there. There's a small amount of resistance from the two O-rings, but the piston isn't overly stiff to move. With that all said and done, that's the rebuild process fully complete. I'm going to give this back to my friend. He's going to install it on his rifle, then fully test it. But for now, that's pretty much going to do it for this particular video, so thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been interesting or useful. I'll see you in the next one.